Hello, Legionnaires, and welcome to some Rando RPG livestream. Tonight, our panel of Dungeon Masters, Game Masters, referees, storytellers, and players will share their diverse tabletop role-playing game experiences to provide ideas, suggestions, and possibly even some advice for your tabletop RPG sessions. Let's get started. All right, thank you all for joining me on some Rando RPG live stream. I am John Maxley-Oshlow, your facilitator and host for tonight's discussion on the evolution of a tabletop RPG character. Now, before I introduce the panelists and start the discussion, let's, as always, knock out the announcements so we can get them done and over with and not have to deal with it again. First and foremost, I am truly grateful that you are joining us for tonight's live stream discussion, or VOD if you're watching this at a later date. I really do hope you enjoy the conversation. After the live stream ends, the full live stream remains available to YouTube members only, while the first 4 segments will be chopped into videos for the public to view a month from now. So what do we do here on some Rando RPG live stream? Well, in segments 1 through 4, we discuss topics surrounding the tabletop role-playing game hobby with an emphasis on individual experiences, desires, and expectations. In tonight's 4 segments on the evolution of a tabletop RPG character, we start to mute Mr. Maxboy Van here if he doesn't stop fucking around with his microphone. We have to provide ideas, suggestions, and food for thought for your tabletop RPG session. In segment 5, we let down our hair just to talk about nerd stuff of interest. Now, you want to join? Do you think you got some presence and charisma? The ability to infotain and edutain. I hate those words, but I'm going to keep saying it because it gets the point across. A good AV setup free from noise and pollution, and an interest in discussing tabletop RPGs in this format. Well, you can come to the Some Rando RPG live stream Discord. Link is in the description. Actually, it's not. I forgot to update it. It's still the old one, but still whatever. You know, you can find it from there. But stay tuned for future topics. Help us get to know you, and maybe, just maybe, we'll get you on the show to talk about your experiences. Now, please consider supporting Legion of Myth through the links in the live stream's description. YouTube takes 30%. Twitch takes 50% of your hard-earned money, while Rumble, PayPal, Streamlabs, and Ko-Fi take between 0 and 5% of your donation. Rumble rants of less than $20 I'll read at the end of each segment. $20 or more I'll interrupt the segment to read your rant or chat as immediately as I can. And for $50 or more, we will get Heathen Dog drunk. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That's what he gets for being virgin on the show. If we make $100 or more in super chats or Rumble rants, there will be a $150 Palladium Books or Drive-Thru RPG gift card giveaway during segment 5. That's right. This is rolled over now, 6 times? Nobody's won it? So $100 gets you a chance to win $150. You do the math on that one, and there you go. So Legion of Myth YouTube members, as well as tonight's Super Chatters and Rumble Ranters, have the opportunity to win, but you must be watching at the time of the giveaway, else it rolls over to next week. Don't forget, Legion of Myth moderators will time out or even ban people who attack any panelist or chatter. Attack the argument, not the person, and keep your various Twitter and internet beefs off of my show. Charity we support is the Wounded Warrior Project, a national nonpartisan organization whose mission is to honor and empower wounded warriors. By the way, we got very little, next to no charity donations this year. This is the worst year ever. So, maybe consider, clicking that little or snapping that little guy and I'll smile in there, checking out that link, and maybe helping the Wounded Warrior Project out. Of course, does that say 2023 on there?
Yep.
I wonder if that link is wrong. That link could be wrong, but the right link is in the description. So check that out. Anyway, so please refer to live stream subscription. Yeah, I already said that. And finally, please like this video, subscribe to all of the panelists' channels found in the description, and thank you for your time and support. Now, with that out of the way, let us meet our panelists for tonight. So first of all, we have, I think a lot of you might already know him, but just in case you don't, we got Heathen Dog with us. Who are you? What content or products do you create? And what is your tabletop RPG experience?
My name is Brett. I am a human being, and I create fun and joy for all.
Okay. And then below him, we have a Bear. As always, who are you, content products you create, and what is your tabletop RPG experience?
I am Bear. I am a meat popsicle, and I am a threat to all right-thinking people everywhere.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Okay. And Mr. Max Wavon. I already mentioned your name, but who are you? What content and products do you create?
I didn't know you could hear me. I thought it was just behind in the backstage. My name is Mr. Max Boivin. My channel is Reaction Principle Gaming, and I'm mostly sober.
Mostly sober. Well, for now.
for now.
Salut la visite, man. That's an improvement.
All right. Well, tonight's topic, ladies and gentlemen, is on the evolution of a tabletop RPG character. We are going to start with character creation and the concepts behind that. We're going to move on to novice and journey, so low-level characters, or if you're playing a skill-based game, the newer characters. Then we're going to move on to epic and master-level characters. And finally, we're going to talk about retirement and death. Dun, dun, dun. So let's start up. No, you do this every time.
I love that cat.
She knows I'm stuck here, so she can just bother me. All right. So talking about the evolution of a TTRPG character, well, we got to start with character creation. So Heathen Dog, how do you approach the initial concept of a character, and what inspires your choices?
Okay, are you asking as a player, or asking me as a player, or me as a game master?
Well, I'd say in this case, it's be a player.
Okay, I like to have my stats tell me what my character is going to be. I will roll my stats, and then I will look at them. And depending on what the game master says, do you have to go top to bottom? Can you move stuff around? I will look at it. If he allows me to move stuff around, I'll be like, oh, if I move this there, hey, that looks like a good wizard, or that looks like a good thief, or that looks like a good barbarian. And then I will go down that road. Now, if it is necessary for me to pick something, because I almost always create characters with the rest of the group at the same time. So if everyone's like, oh no, I really want to play a fighter, I really want to play a barbarian, I really want to play a thief, I'm like, well, then I have to be a wizard or a cleric. That's fine. I could do that. Unless I was married to something too, and then we're going to brawl. But if not, then I'll say, okay, then I want to make this, and I'll ask the game master, hey, if my stats don't stand up to that, can I re-roll, or can you bump up my wisdom or my intelligence to get me the minimum? And if not, then I'll just re-roll until I fit that niche. Now, I understand a lot of people aren't going to want to do that, right? They have their heart set on playing something. That's fine. That's great. A couple of people at your table can be just like that. Like, I want to play a fighter. I love playing fighters. It's the favorite thing in the world. I do it really well. A couple of people can do that, but some people at the table have to be able to bend. They have to flex. And I don't mean like, flex in your face. I'm talking about be flexible. Yeah, exactly. Be flexible. Be able to play something else, because the worst thing a party can do is be all fighters, all thieves, all this, all that. You are not going to make it past the novice levels. You're just not, because you do not have all the utility that you need to play in an actual adventure or campaign, whatever. So yeah,
do you have a different consideration if you're playing a fantasy game versus a sci-fi game, or is it still generally the same process for you?
It's generally the same process. I mean, it depends on the sci-fi game. If there are a lot of sci-fi games that obviously don't have magic or psionics or anything like that, then everyone can play, say, fighter type character, as long as someone takes skills in piloting, someone takes skills in engineering. If we're on a sci-fi ship and no one wants to be the mechanic, well, I'm going to have to be, because number one, someone's got to do it. And number two, the first time it breaks down, we're all going to eat each other, because we're in the middle of space and we're dead. Right. So someone's got to do it. So that's it. But mostly I let the stats do it, unless the table calls for something, and then I'll step up and I'll bend.
Okay.
That's basically it.
All right, Bear. Same question for you. How do you approach the initial concept of a character, and what inspires your choices?
As a player or as a GM, though, would be my
again
question.
for all this. You're making characters as a player.
As a player, well, I'm actually in the process of doing that right now, and it's all going to boil down to something that inspires me. I don't give a flying two figs what the rest of the party is playing. I think that's a ridiculous way to play the game. No offense. I think that's one of the staples we brought out of Dungeons and Dragons, this idea of niche protection, because you needed it in D&D, but you don't need it in other games. And I don't play D&D, so I can think of things. Now, that said, if someone's playing a wizard, I'm not going to show up as a wizard, because I care about the other player. I don't care about their niche, but I don't want to show up and be like, well, I'm going to out-wizard you now, or anything like that. So,
and that does happen.
It does happen. So what I try and do is I do take a little bit of Heathen Dog's page and looking for where something isn't with the other players, and then seeing if there's something in that space that inspires me. But ultimately, it's going to come down to the personality of the character I want to play. That's going to be the most important thing for me, which is why I'm having such a hard time with Cody's game, because I have to make a new character, and I love my old character so much. I'm just like, I got nothing right now because I just love that character so much. So, you know.
Now, I know that you, as a game master, you run a narrative style game. So how would you balance the mechanical effectiveness of your character with, let's say, narrative depth during character creation?
Narrative depth during character creation?
Yes.
Like Traveler?
Well, no, it'd be more like your background. I hate using that word. You know, your 90-page background story or the character concept.
You actually brought that up. Whereas I said, if I'm just going off nobody's thing, it's my stats that do it. But you said it's the vision of your character that will guide you in what he's going to be, what you think he's going to be like, and then you'll make his class or whatever appropriately. So how do you do that? How do you vision what he's going to be like? Do you write it up beforehand or what?
Well, I think of who he is.
Okay.
Who is he as a person? Why is he doing what? What fucking reason did this guy leave the safety of civilization and perhaps a job to decide wandering out into the expanses of space was a good idea, or to leave Chi-Town and the protection of the coalition to head out into the greater world of rifts, or to put on a spandex suit and go, well, time to go punch evil in the head and get shot at and hated by people? Like, whatever the case may be, I need to know why the character has made the decision to step outside and be something extraordinary. It's one of the reasons why I have a problem with certain game universes, in that there is no reason to ever want to be extraordinary in those universes, because that road leads to death every time. So I have to look at the setting. I have to look at what the characters are doing. What are they going to dungeons? Are they trying to get rich? Are they fighting the Empire? What are they doing? Why are they doing this? And then figure out who would want to do that from my point of view. So that's kind of how it works for me. Now, as for character death, I don't understand the question, Mr. Liao. It doesn't.
We'll get to death later. This was
narrative death. Yeah. I don't know what that means.
Narrative depth.
Depth. Oh, I heard death.
Oh, okay.
Learn to enunciate.
We're not going to die until the end of the stream tonight.
Oh, okay. I think we're dying right now. But narrative depth.
So here. Let me rephrase it. The point that I'm making here is, some people do all the numbers that they can to make the most min-max effective character that they can. Some people are pure on the role-playing side, like, I don't care what works together in any sort of synergy. I'm not even going to bother with that. I'm just going to do what I think my character would do as a former bouncer. How do you balance the two, so to speak? Or do you even care?
I don't care, dude. I mean, look, if you lose yourself in the weeds of, well, what is the depth of my character and blah, 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 go do theater sports. Go be in a play. Go to auditions and try and get an acting gig. But if you're playing a game, the primary point of your narrative depth is what I just said. Figure out why your character's doing this. What is their motivation for going out into the world and doing what they're doing? That's all the depth you need to apply. Everything else will be lost. And the reason it'll be lost is this. You have a great idea about your character. Steel stab thrust. You think this guy's awesome. And in the back of your head, you have this scene that's all played out where steel stab thrust will confront his mortal childhood enemy. But you know where that vision isn't? In your narrator's head. In your GM's head. They're not seeing that. So they're never going to be able to make the character be as happy or as satisfying as you've built it up to be. So, step one, much like dating online, lower your expectations. Step two, put what you need to make the character come to life and then react with the world around you. It's okay to have little moments that you want to have, but stop creating full tilt characters before the first die of the goddamn campaign is rolled, because that way just leads to dissatisfaction. Sure. At least in my opinion.
No, to piggyback on that, in your game that you're running, every time I go into one of your sessions, I have an idea of something I want to do with Athane. How many times has it happened? Literally zero. And that's fine. I mean, I rolled the punches. I'm not sitting there like, oh man, I don't get to play my character the way I want. No, I'm absolutely playing my character the way I want. But you could best laid plans of mice and men. You go in there, it's like, okay, I'm going to do this today. I'm going to say these things. And it never happens, but that's fine. So 100% agree with you on that part. All right, let's move over.
But hang on before you jump off. But that's why you were referred to as running a master class in that campaign. Because despite you having ideas about what you want a Thane to do, you understand the idea of rolling with the story and seeing what a Thane will do in those situations. And that's way better and is producing clearly a more satisfying role-playing experience. Based on what you've said, unless you were lying. So.
Oh, no, I'm having a really fun time. Although I do have a little secret to tell you in the after show today.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to disappoint a whole ton of you guys about that game, but we'll talk about it. But it's a great game, and people should check it out. It's on Bear's channel, it's on my channel, it's on the Old Geeks channel, et cetera, et cetera. But moving on to Mr. Max. It's on Cody's channel, and he's in chat, so I should have said GM Cody as well.
You should have.
Same question for you. How do you approach the initial concept of a character, and what inspires your choices? And I know for just, I'm going to say this, that you actually might disagree with Heathen Dog about playing all fighters in a game. I
disagree obviously with that. Like, I think for me, like, could be very interesting. All people playing the same class, I don't mind at all. Like, and if I'm the GM and this happened, like, you know what? We'll make a game about that. Like, and we'll figure out why this party is going together like that. Right? I'm not married to a story from the get-go, so we'll adapt. You say like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Well, you're a bunch of fighter. Maybe magic is rare in that world. Maybe that's gonna be like something to explore, right? You all want to be mage? Maybe there's a reason you all were working together, but that's not going to be in my game. I can tolerate one mage. But...
No, she said tolerate.
Yeah,
tolerate. Yeah.
What inspires choices when you're making your character?
Like, we do a lot of like a micro campaign or like short game and stuff like that, so we get to play a lot of different character, right? That's something we've been doing lately, and I kind of love it, to be honest. And oftentimes when I'm going to a character, I'm just like interested in playing something I haven't played in a while, somebody like different than what I did, like just like get some variety and try like a new challenge in a sense, right? Or something like, something I never did before sometime, or something that I'm not usually a fan. Like lately the guys say, oh, you should play a magic user because I'm such a major magic user hater, right? I say, okay, I'll do it. I'll see how it goes, right? So that's oftentimes just like the way I approach. And then like I do think about who the character is, what his motivation. Like I goes both way. If it's a high level concept campaign, right, that the GM or game that GM proposing, right, like Phil the Trill say like, oh, you're gonna be like prisoners, a traveler game. You're gonna be prisoners sent to this prison planet, right? We're dropped from a drop ship, and that's where the game start. So then I start like, okay, who that guy is, why is he being dropped on a prison planet? And then we traveler with the life path system, but we try to work both. But I start with a concept, an idea of a concept. Okay, I want this guy to be this, and then I try to work the mechanic in. Sometimes we go the other way around. We just start with the mechanics, roll some stats and stuff like that, and say, okay, what can I make with that, right? Just like, and for me, both are fun, both are interesting. And oftentimes the character I only like discover much more. I get to know him in play on the first session. I came in with a vague idea, and we have this concept that we call like getting the character like high resolution. You come with a low resolution character, and then you see with the rest of the party when you interact with other player character, with the world, with what the GM brought, then there's the character define itself more through play, right? You add something and I guess that's who the character is now, right? Be flexible with it. I don't like this idea of like being married to an idea, like, oh, this is my guy, this is what he wants, this is what he's about. Like, you don't know. You haven't set foot in the world of the game yet, right? Just like, so chillax a bit. Come on with a general concept, be flexible with it, and roll with the blow, right? That's important for me.
Well, that reminds me, Heathen Dog, in the Rifts game that we were in, I had a vision for Captain Max that I'd say I played part of it, but it turned out to still be different than how I was like, okay, I'm going to go into the game, I'm going to do these things. Did your character, Sergeant McCool, was there any change in that character, or was that?
Actually, not really. I mean, I had a concept for the character. It wasn't super fleshed out, just like Mr. Max saying. I had the concept of it. I knew he was stupid. He was dumb, but he was a former senior master sergeant. So while he is conventionally not bright, he is trained so well that in the military environment, he seems like a goddamn genius. And so I played him that way.
He read the book on doctrine and just that's all he does.
Exactly. That's it. You know, he memorized every single thing about the military. He knew it backward and forward. He spent years doing that because he's just not bright. But in his element, he seems like a god. In his element, he seems like a god. So I just say, you know what? I'm gonna go with that, and it worked. I didn't have to change it at all, because you know, it was my job to herd the damn cats. Everybody else to follow your vision. That was my job, to enact the vision of my commanding officer. That is my duty, and that's all I did. And I didn't have to do anything else because it was fun and it was entertaining and everyone seemed to like it. So I just kept doing more of it. And that's all it worked out. Now I've made mistakes like what Mr. Max was saying, like if you come in there with a character that's too fleshed out, high res, like he says, and if he does not fit into the group, well, you're screwed. You may as well make a new character at that point because he's already complete. He's a cookie that's done baking, but nobody likes oatmeal. And that's what he is. He's fucking oatmeal, right? So
Exactly.
There you go. And I've done that before, and it was a colossal failure, absolute failure. Now, I would have liked to in my head be able to walk that character back concept wise, to be able to step in a different direction, but I made the mistake of he was too fleshed out before he started the game. I mean, both of the panelists down here have said the same thing. If your character is too fleshed out before you start, there's a good chance you're just not going to fit
or have fun.
Or have fun.
It's
And I actually sucked the fun away from everyone else because I didn't fit so bad.
Were you talking about your abjurer or whatever it was?
Yes.
Okay.
With Garthon's game. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
It's something I noticed over the years in playing D&D that people who were like, that I knew, I'm not saying all, but people who were like super Conan fans over, say, Super Lord of the Rings fans or other fantasy, they never, the concept never entered their head that the character would change. The character was the way the character was from the minute they would go. So, for example, I had one guy who was playing like the equivalent of a Tarnsman from Gore. He rode a flying hawk. Well, in one adventure, the flying hawk got killed, right? Okay, so now we'll do an adventure path where he learns to be a ground fighter while searching for it, and eventually we'll present him another mount, and he'll be able to take to the skies and be happy again. No. Player just goes and throws his character off a cliff because his reason for living is gone.
I don't want that player at my table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, exactly. But this is the thing. It was college. You just sit there going, dude, like, the heroic fucking journey, brother. Like, you know,
exactly,
go
like
on it.
Changing is what
it's the way it is. Some people fetishize the idea of what a character is to the point where they cannot see anything else but that fetishized idea.
Like,
once they are at that point, there's very little you can do with them as a player because they have an idea, right?
A lot of people think that, like,
unfortunate.
A lot of people think that their character are there to be like to get stronger.
Right.
The character is there to change, and getting stronger is one way you change, but it's only
What's going
one
on?
way.
I'm seeing. Am I stuttered? Am I stopped?
You were talking over each other, Bear, but so I think it's with you because I hear Mr. Max just fine.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. You were finishing your point. He was just trying to step in. So, I forgot what I was going to say on that. Dang it! I hate it when I do that. Well, anyway, all right. I know I'm going to remember. Yeah. So yeah, but the character evolution. I don't come in. I don't want to know what my character is going to be at level 20 or 2 years down the road of playing the game. I want to start the character here and see where it ends up. That's the fun to me. This whole idea of knowing where you're going to end. I get the idea of an adventure path or, you know, the mega dungeons and so forth. You know, the idea is to go in there, level up, beat up all the monsters, et cetera, et cetera. I get it. But I don't want to know where I'm going to die. I don't want to know what spells I'm going to have 5 levels from now, because the idea I have today might be different than the idea I have, 6 months from now, based on what we need. I like to play organically to the world.
Yeah. Oh,
and that's how I start my characters.
Yeah, I mean, Bear and Mr. Max will probably agree. I think we'll all agree on this one that some of the worst players are the ones that plan out their character from level 1 to end before the game even starts.
Yep.
So like that's just setting yourself up for failure because you have no idea how the world really works.
Exactly.
You have no idea if your plan is even feasible. But no matter what, you're just going to push through because what? You're dumb? I don't but there are players like that. Like, no, I plan out my character from it's not a video game, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you
You're not
don't
making
know
a build,
what's going
right?
to happen.
You're not making a build. Like your character is living like through this world, right? And you're supposed to react to the world and react to like things that's gonna happen. Like you're supposed to live in that. The world is not there to accommodate you. The world is not there like as a training ground for you and just like to make you stronger. The world exists for its own sake, and your character is just living in that world and reacting to that world and making the best he can in that world, right?
Yeah. And the player who plans out his
to address just what Grizzly Beardo said, yeah, but that's people who read Conan comics.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm lagging. Let me figure out what's going on because I literally just saw all of Mr. Boivin's speech happen in one rush. So
right.
Let me come out. I'm going to go. I'll be back. It'll take me a couple of minutes, but I'm going to reboot the whole system. I'll be back.
Okay. All right. So what I was saying is that the people who plan their character from first level to last level, they expect the world to fit to them. Yeah. And that's not how it's going to work. You have to fit in the world. Your character will grow within the boundaries of the world. You're not going to break boundaries here. There is no glass ceiling for you, dummy. This is it. It's a regular ceiling. And if you hit it, you're done.
Yep.
So,
and it's always like your characters have goal, your character have aspirations, stuff like that, but those should be in character, like their character goals. And we have this saying, like, tell God your plan and he'll laugh, right? Then it's like tell your GM your plan and he should laugh, right? Just like if your GM's not laughing you out of the room when you say, oh, this is what I'm planning to do from level 1 to 20, well, he's doing it wrong, right? Just like, should be like, well, it's fun to have an idea, right? Just I guess.
Well, since Bear's going to be back in a couple of minutes, I'll actually address one of the other follow-up questions. We kind of touched on it, but just to kind of stall for a little bit of time here. What are the most important factors you consider when creating your character's abilities and skills? So we're now a little bit more on the mechanic side. When you're thinking of your character's abilities and skills, and you can think of a skill-based game or you can think of a class-based game. I don't care, all of the above. Just what are the important factors for you? And this is just open conversation, so just go ahead and jump into it.
For me, like I said, when I'm making a character, I like to make it with everyone else present. We're all making our characters at the same time. So I will look to see what we're missing skill or power wise. And then I will try to pick up ancillary skills to fill that gap. For instance, if it is a fantasy type campaign, there's going to be a lot of rural forest travel or whatever. But nobody has cooking or fishing or hunting or whatever, I'll pick it up, because we're going to need it. Everyone's going to be thankful. I'm going to be the belle of the ball every time we're traveling from point A to point B. And, people without cooking skills could give yourself, dysentery, diarrhea, whatever. We don't need that crap. Don't need it. Don't need it at all. As long as you have a cooking skill, it may not be great, but it won't kill you. So, that's what I'll do. I'll look for weaknesses in the party. And if it's a skill-based game, I'll take a couple levels or a couple dots or a couple, whatever it is in that game to try and at least make sure there's not a giant hole in our effectiveness. If it's a power or a spell that I can take to shore up that hole, fine, great, I'll do that. I mean, it's not going to be the main focus on my character, but usually in games, there are freebie points or background points or whatever there is that is supposed to humanize your character to make him more well-rounded, to make him more three-dimensional. I'll use those to shore up the deficiencies in the group.
Yeah. I don't disagree with this approach as well. Like, I think this can be one consideration, but because even if you look at it in game, right, in character, you gather a group of people together to go do a job. You make sure that people have skill that fill each other. Right? Just like, you
don't just grab the hobo down the street and say, come with us.
Exactly. There's a reason they work together, presumably, right? Unless you do something that, we're just in the marketplace and something happened and then we don't know each other, right? That's something else different. But I think there can be a reason, it can be a consideration, and that's legit, right? I also like to have a character that is somewhat competent at something, right? Because you're going on adventure and stuff like that, right? Some characters are not adventure material. Again, depending on the team, depending on the setting, if you play like a Call of Cthulhu game, it's totally legit to play somebody that's just like thrown into it, right? Or just like in this fucking radio station and monsters show up, right? Whatever.
No, we learned in Call of Cthulhu, you don't want lore of any type. You want to be as ignorant as possible.
Yeah, you want to be as dumb as possible so you don't get it. You'll live longer.
Yeah.
Well, you want to be deaf, blind, and illiterate. Is what you want to be.
Especially literate. But the other thing is like I also try to pick something for flavor and something to bound yourself into the world, right? It's like so
set you
for me,
apart
you need to
from
be
the
like
normal whatever.
Sorry?
Set you apart from the normal whatever your class is,
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like
lean into it. Lean into what the class is as a trope. Like, I'm playing a trope guy. Let's see what he becomes through the course of adventures we go on. Let's find out, right?
That's fine.
Yeah, but I mean, what I mean by that is like I don't want to pick only the thing for min-maxing. I also want a thing to round up the character. Like, people are not like one thing. Like, very few people like very like single focus kind of people. Like, we all have like other interests, right? Just like, but so I think that's I think you need at least one of them for your character, like to make it feel more like a person, right?
So
Just
when
like,
you're single focused, it's so easy to segregate you from that one focus that you have.
And when you're not interacting with that focus in the game, what you do, you just like twiddle your thumb, right? Or just like, no, I think it's important to have like and it just doesn't make you feel like a character.
That's fair.
All right. So Bear, you are a little choppy still, and we can't hear you. I cannot hear you. I see your lips moving. I don't hear any audio. You're not muted from our end. Nope. No tapping. Hear nothing. Your computer hates you today.
Yeah, I guess you can hear us.
Do everything in mime.
one suggestion. You're an actor, yeah. Mime it out. One suggestion that I do have for you, Bear, in your settings: turn off the local recordings and see if that helps. But it won't help your volume come back right now. You'll have to do something with Windows with regard to that. But I'm going to move on temporarily while you work on that. But you're welcome to stay here because I know you're not going to interrupt and be weird. So moving on to the second question now. I said you weren't going to be. So we'll start with Mr. Max on this one. So how do you ensure a newly created character? So now you're focusing on the idea of it fitting within the group dynamic. You guys have actually talked about this quite a bit. Like, hey, I want to make sure my character, fits into the group. Well, how do you do that? How do you make sure that it fits within the group dynamic and or the campaign setting, which some people might not care about, but I think all of us here talked about. We do care about that. So.
Like that's we talk, like you said, we talk about it quite a bit, and for me that's what I said, like, it's keeping you being flexible with your idea. You want to have like maybe like broad line, and then you leave some gap to fill them in as you go through, right? Like with stuff that is interesting, and that allows you also to add something that from somebody else's character, right? You can find like, oh, we can mesh there, we can like like puzzle piece, we have this connection there, or with the world and stuff like that. When the GM always gonna tell you like, oh, the world is gonna be about that. Then you start playing stuff for reveal. Then you say, oh, you know what? Maybe that's where I'm from, right? Just like, I thought I was come from a city. Now you mentioned like this city. Well, this is the one I'm from, right? You can pick and choose. Or, oh, you went to you're a deserter from the army. Oh, I got a military background. Maybe like you can make those connections and with the permission of the character and stuff like that, right? Just like, oh, you work together as a group. But if you don't make your character together, which I think it's a good habit to have. But then, like, when you first come into contact, like, mesh them together, right? Make that interesting, or mesh them with the world. So being flexible with that, for me, that's a big secret.
Okay. Do you, when you're as now, we're going to move you over to the game master side for just a moment. Do you have a character meetup, so to speak, for your session zeros, or do you just discuss any sort of character relationships? For example, the not for just Forbidden Lands, but the Free League games love to build in a one-sentence relationship concept into each of the characters. Do you do something like that?
I like to do something like that, but I'll also leave them to the player. Like in the last game that we played on Monday, just before the game, I had two players, and they just say like, "Oh, are we related?" And they say, maybe we're brother, and they say we're cousin, and then okay, and then the game starts, and that's it, they're cousin now, and they just go with it, right? It doesn't need more than that. and then they play their character like that, right? But I like when there's some relationship, but also sometimes like we do sometime game where the character like don't even meet each other until halfway through the game, right? we know sometimes that people say don't split the party. Sometimes we start with the fucking party split, right?
That might have to be different. We'll have a new episode on that in a few weeks, talking about how to start a game. All right.
Start a game with everybody like in a different corner of the world.
Good luck. Have fun.
We did.
Right, did you hear the question?
Me?
Yes.
No, I did not.
Okay. So how do you ensure? So again, you touched on this, but now we're getting a little bit more specifics of this. How do you ensure a newly created character fits well within the group dynamic or the campaign setting?
Well, as a player, I make a character that fits within the setting by paying attention to the setting, reading what my GM has written, what my narrator has written, what my DM has written. Nothing annoys me more than players who are like, I didn't read the world setting. Then why are you playing? You just want to do your own thing, and you just want attention. That's why you're here. Why don't you try taking 5 minutes to take, you expect me to run a game for you, or you expect the GM to run a game for you, but you're not willing to invest the little bit of time it takes to read something? The fuck happened to us as players? We used to digest source material. And now everybody's like, I don't give a fuck, but here's my 90-page background. You have to read. Fuck that. So that's it. Number one, pay attention to the world setting. As for how he fits with the rest of the characters, unless I know, like we've made the background together, like Mr. Max was saying, where you're basically connecting the characters together, I don't give a fuck. The best stories, the best adventures, the ones where the people who don't like each other have to learn how to get along to survive. And then they find common cause together. They find common ground together. Unless, you're playing Star Trek where you're all in Starfleet or whatever. Or you're playing Star Wars and you're all members of the Rebellion or the Empire or whatever the case may be. Unless the setting gives you a reason to all be on the same page, find the page together is what I say.
So on the other side of the screen, as a game master, do you allow secret agendas?
Well, define a secret agenda. Do I not know about it as the game master?
No.
Because I've had players try that shit. It's like, that's not happening.
No, either you let the player convince you to have a secret agenda, or you even provide a secret agenda to the player. Like ultimately, your goal is to turn all these efforts in.
Absolutely, with the right player, absolutely. I've got that going right now in my home game. A new player's coming back who's been out for a while. He's joining, and his character has a big secret, and we spent the better part of the last 2 days bouncing back and forth how to hide his secret until they figure it out. And some of the stuff he was doing, I'm like, dude, well, none of my players watch this. He's a vampire, but he's pretending to be a superhero, right? Because he doesn't want to be a vampire. And then all the stuff he was picking, from his name to his costume, I'm like, you are the worst secret vampire ever. What do we mean? Like, they're gonna figure that out in the first fucking session. You know what I mean?
Morbid time.
Yeah, exactly. You got to go the other way.
Anything, Coach Ferratu.
Yeah, Coach Ferratu. Exactly. You got to go the other way. You got to be like fucking, Iron Man. You got to be like Captain America. You can't be like, the Night Stalker, Crimson Avenger. Like, no, they're gonna figure that. They're players. They're gonna figure that shit
Blood
out.
Sponge. Get it over with.
Exactly. I am Dark Fang. Well, Jesus, Bob. Come on. But so I don't mind secret agendas as long as they're well done, and it's with a player that I can trust to not be a C word about it.
Yeah, that's the rub, though. That's the rub that I have found, that the other players, especially if their secret agenda is any kind of betrayal, and the other players didn't figure it out before it happened, once it happened, the other players become irrationally upset.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just irrational, like inconsolably pissed off.
Yeah.
And then as a game master, I don't want to have to deal with that.
I like to play with all safety up.
I love dealing with that.
Right there. Just because they're pissed. A few people walk away and they're like, fuck, I gotta go outside. I gotta go for a walk. I gotta cool off. Yeah. And the others are staring at the betrayer going, why? Fucking why?
I like playing with them all.
And after 5 to 10 minutes, they all figure out, well, no, it all dawns on them at the same goddamn time that I was in on it. And now they turn their hate from him to me.
Excellent.
Yeah, I don't need that. That derails an entire day. I don't need that. So secret agendas for me are fine as long as they are not betrayal. If it's betrayal, suck it, find another secret agenda. You're looking for the perfect puppy. Okay, no betrayals.
I disagree. Not in like, I'm sure that's your experience. I don't play with children is my first rule of thumb.
Yep.
I play with people who can handle the story and are going to have little. And if they do, I hope I'm playing a game like Palladium when they act that way. And then when they try and have their character suddenly extract horrific revenge by shoving a flaming red sword up the guy's ass, I'm like, can we take a brief look at your alignment for a second here, buddy? And see how you would react based on the character you made as opposed to the angry player sitting at the table right now who got outwitted by that player. And those are the things you got to do. And this is why some people say you should never talk outside of the game. You should never do this. You should never do that. The GM should never interfere. No. There's a reason why the term used to be referee as well, as one of the terms for what a GM does. It was DM, GM, referee, narrator, judge in Marvel. We are there sometimes to arbitrate things and go, hey, let's all calm down. And now that we're calm, let's talk this out like adults for 5 minutes and get it resolved and move on with the game. But again, I haven't played with people who react like that since college. Like, to be honest,
my rule of thumb is like character versus character is fine, but don't let it become player versus player. You have to be able to make the difference, the distinction, right? And I love those secret, and I don't need to know about, like, I don't fucking ask the player tell me if they want to have a secret agenda, stuff like that. Like, I have fun with it, right? But I play also with people that I know. They're not gonna just have like the secret agenda just to derail the game and just to be edgy lord and just like, you made a character and your character wants something. Your character has motivation. Your character has aspirations, stuff like that, and those can clash with the motivation, aspiration of the other party member, like the other player character. I don't care about it, right? I trust you that you're gonna play your character in a way that makes sense, and you're just gonna be there like to cause chaos around the table, right? Because nobody has fun with that.
I think Heathen Dog and I have had similar experiences in the past that traumatized us to some degree, because I agree with them on this one, and I don't like dealing with that nonsense. But it is, to be fair, Barry, you're right. They were immature players, absolutely, but it's got me to the point now where it's like I just don't. I know. I don't want to deal with that now.
Hang on, Garthon and I, when we were playing in your Earthdawn campaign. We were character versus character the entire way. I hated his ass.
But there was no betrayal there. That was just character conflict.
Yeah, I didn't do that. But his character rubbed my character the wrong way. I actually physically chased him under a table and chased him out of a room. But I did it in character. He and I were never not friends the entire. When the game was over, we were friends. We were.
No, those are fun. Those are fun situations.
Yeah. It was not personal. It was fun. Yeah. But that is not the norm.
No, it's not the norm. It's not the norm.
Not the norm.
But you got to curate and cultivate your players. You can't just let any asshole in the door.
Vet your player. I love be sold by that. Right?
He said curate and cultivate. That's different. That is manipulation of players'
I just heard
minds.
No. Curate meaning I'm going to curate who sits at my table and who doesn't.
Yep.
And I'm going to cultivate the good players by running games for them and getting them to keep playing and having fun and having a good time. Vetting is real simple. Hey, Max, you know this guy. Is he an asshole?
Yeah.
Like that's all I need to do. You know what I mean? Like it's that simple. But listen, there were points when I was running games in college where I literally had waiting lists to be in my game because of people from the Sci-Fi Society we were all part of, because everybody else would talk about the games and they were like, well, I want to play. And some of them I'd be like, yeah, no, I'll throw you on the waiting list. But in my head, I'm like, fuck no. I don't care if everybody else dies and you're the only person left that can play. Fuck you. You're not playing in my game because you're an idiot and you're going to be an asshole and you're going to throw a temper tantrum or you're going to flip a table or you're going to do something childish. And I have no fucking patience for that shit. None.
Oh, Max, can you highlight Crispy, not last comment now, but the one before at 1943?
I don't have a timestamp, but I'm guessing it's that one.
Yes. You don't have timestamps? Savage. Like Crispy said, my characters and Max.
You want it up on the screen now? I was going to do it after we were done, but okay.
Yeah, because we're talking about because that's part of the point. Like Phil's character in that game basically turned out being like the big evil guy of the campaign of this session, right? Just because but that was baked into the scenario of the campaign. Like the game was baked with it was like they were going on a witch hunt. In a time of tension between like the religious people and the secular people. So some of them were secular, some people were like religious. The secular was there like to make sure there was no abuse. So it's baking the session, and like Phil did an amazing job on that. And yeah, then like all the opposition I put, like this other PC was the focus point of all the party. Like, well, this guy's a fucking asshole. Like,
but that's separating character from player, right? Like I played when I used to play Torg back in college, I had a character who was a cyber mage, and I went through all the spells that were available to me, and I found one I really liked called Foe Blast. So that was my only spell, and the reason I liked it was because it did area damage. But if you submitted to my character, you'd take no damage. But I played him so manipulative and Machiavellian and slightly seemingly evil, none of the party would ever submit. So every time I did a foe blast, they'd all eat a shit ton of damage and they'd get mad at me. And I'd be like, well, just got to submit to me and you'll be fine, gentlemen. Don't worry about it. And that was just this ongoing bone of contention throughout the campaign, to the point where I had to laugh my ass off in one session where they were getting their asses beat. And I was like, I won't foe blast. And I just stood back and they're getting their asses beat. And then eventually in character, they're like, would you please deal with this? And I'm like, submit to me and I will. They refused.
Kneel before Zod.
Exactly. Kneel before Zod. They refused. They died. My character lit a cigarette and walked away alive. It was quite nice. Sometimes, but that's in character. That's a character thing. That's a role-playing thing. When you have two people who are against each other as players, you now have a problem.
Yes.
And you've either got to get rid of both of them, bring them to a place where they can achieve détente, or pick the one you like the most and kick the other one out of the game. And that's just the way it is.
Or I've been fight a duel.
Well, we got
or pugil sticks and see who wins. Yeah, exactly.
We do need to move on to the next segment. So any final follow-up conversation that you guys have for these two questions here for the segment of character creation that you guys want to finish up on, or are we ready to move on?
I'll just to sum up, initial concept of the character, whether you have a general idea of what your character is going to be, or you let the dice and chance do it. I think our consensus here is do not be too specific. Yep. That is going to be the death of you fitting into the campaign and the group.
It's nice to have ideas.
Exactly, but not a roadmap.
Yeah, you're not writing a book by yourself.
Yeah, roadmap bad. And then ensuring a newly created character fits within the group, well, that moves easily onto that. When you're making your character, I think you should all be making your character at the same time, so everyone knows where everyone else is, what everyone else is doing, and if you're even a minorly team player, during that time, you will naturally want to fit into the group, and you will flesh out your character appropriately. If you don't, well, then your character is going to be the odd guy out. You know, I mean, you are going to be a bone of contention moving forward.
Oh, and I think also like one thing that we none of us touch really, but like you mentioned a bit like the somebody like said the backstory, 90-page backstory and stuff like that. Like, like don't fucking bring me like a huge backstory, right? The story of a character is gonna happen through play, right? You didn't go through all like the interesting stuff in your life before you get in the first session. If you want to write a fucking novel, do that. Don't do that and bring the character at my table, right? That's what I would say. Like it's good to have like a character should have background and have a past. Like he lived in this world before.
But your character's past should not be more important than your character's future.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, Barrett?
Unless the past will tie to the story that you're playing through, or cause,
then you're colluding
or cause ramifications later because enemies from your past show up. Things you did in your past suddenly come back to the surface, and now everybody has to deal with your bullshit, Ted. Jesus Christ, Ted. Why the fuck are we fighting the Demon Lord, Ted? Well, when I was a boy, my mother was part of a covenant. Jesus, Ted, you could have told us this before.
But once again, that's something Forbidden Lands does really well. It builds in a dark secret to your character that the game master can use.
My mom sold my soul to the devil, and it's my 30th birthday.
It never came up. You know, it never came up. What was it? Hey, these are great grits. And by the way, the devil owns my soul. Anyway, what are we doing tomorrow, guys? Like, you know. It can lead to very good role playing if handled properly and adroitly by the right type of group, narrator, player, everything together. But I agree with Mr. Mauvin. Don't write me a fucking history novel. Don't write me like, you know, and then when I took down the barbarian king and became the pride of their tribe, and don't fuck off.
And you're level 1?
Your first level. Shut up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when I traveled to this land, no, you didn't travel to that land. You're level 1, dude. You're like at best 10 miles from where you grew up. Okay, come on.
All right, so let me hit a couple of chats. First of all, there was a super chat beginning there. Mercurius, thank you very much. Tip for Max and YouTube. That's right, because YouTube took 30% of his Australian smoke signals. But thank you very much. Appreciate that. Anyway, Table Runner Crispy says, I like to start with 1 or 2 sentence concept from where to start asking questions about goals, quirks, and morals.
That's fine.
That's morals or morals?
Morals, sorry.
Morals. I do that all the time.
Yeah, but you don't speak English as a first language. He has no excuse.
Oh.
I can't see. Have you seen my glasses? It's okay for everyone to play mages together in Mage the Ascension, Heathen.
Well, come on, man. I mean, we already talked about that. You know, like if you're playing a coalition campaign, you're all dog boys, or you're all dead. Whatever.
But usually in Mage, somebody has forces, somebody has life, somebody has...
You're a different flavor of Mage, but we get it. You know, there are certain games where everyone is basically the same thing. That's just the way the game works.
Well, so Vampire, that's the way Vampire was supposed to be done, which was you were all lower members of the same clan, but everybody wanted to I want to be the Malk, I want to be the Nosfer. Why the fuck are you all hanging out together?
Yeah, there's no reason for you to hang out together if you do that. For brand new players in games like that, where everyone is basically the same class or the same concept, because that's the way the game is structured. If you're a new player to the game or to my group or whatever, you're all in the same, say, faction or clique or whatever. Because if not, you probably can't properly navigate the differences and still be a group. So yeah, there's going to be a little rules in the beginning if you're not an experienced player, either at my table or at the game we're playing. Yeah.
All right, and then the last one I started was Grizzly Bear. Yes, secret player agendas are great ways to add tension. Some of my players get bored outside of combat. The secret catnip I found was that I give them a secret agenda. Okay. Secret agendas, I guess I should have clarified. The secret agenda itself doesn't bother me. It's a secret agenda that's against the group that bothers me.
Betrayal is the big thing. I don't allow secret agenda betrayal. Oh yeah, no. My secret agenda is I want to make banks selling them all into slavery. No, dude, no. No. I'm not going to do that. That's going to be not fun for everyone but you. You're going to be laughing with a ton of gold coin while everyone else is dropping the soap.
Oh, no, heathen dog. No. Absolutely, you can do that. And when that big moment comes where you betray them all guess who else is in shackles? You, fucker, because these are slavers, and they're not paying you if they don't have to, and you're now worth money to sell. So, well, I'm glad that all worked out for you, Steve, but they fucked you because they're evil.
I never saw that coming. Oh my God, eyes again. All right, let's end this. We got 3 more segments to go. So,
all right, let's go.
So, want everybody to like, subscribe, share. I'll see you in the next video, which is as soon as I can see again. My eyes are watering like nuts right now. Next one, the next one is on novice and journeyman characters, so in the early levels, so to speak, and see what they have to say about those low-level characters in just a moment.